Looks like we're good to go. I'll call the meeting of the February Parks and Rec Commission meeting to order. First order of business is roll call. Let's start down here with the students. Charlie?
Here.
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 Vicky Lehar is here.
Terry Millette here.
Craig Brandon here.
Monica here.
Russell Smith here.
All right, very good. Let's look at the, do you have any changes to the agenda? Anybody looking to, no? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion
Well-
to.
Oh, Chair, members of the commission, we did have election of officers on here, but I did mention in the email when I sent this out last year, because we didn't have a February meeting, we did wait till March, so if we want to make it officially a year, we can do that at the next meeting, and our current chair is out sick today, so it's up to the commission. If you're fine, we can just
pleasure.
table that for next
To me, I
month.
say we nominate him while he's not here. No, just kidding. No, whatever,
Does that take-
anybody.
yeah, it would take a motion to move that.
Yeah.
I move that we put it off till next month, and do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we're going to amend the agenda to remove election of officers. Okay. Approval of minutes. Does anyone have any changes that they'd like to see to last month's minutes? Hearing none. Do I have,
I make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item is new business, trails and connection discussion. Staff?
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. As one of the goals of the Parks Commission, actually for the last couple of years, but this year we were managing to make this come to fruition. You had it as a goal to have a meeting dedicated to trails and connectivity with some of our partners and what's going on in Maplewood. And so tonight is the night that we have that meeting happening. We have our Public Works Director, Stephen Love, and then we have our guests from Ramsey County. We have Connie Bernardi from Active Living Ramsey Communities. She's the director. And we have the Parks and Recreation Director from Ramsey County here to talk. So we're very lucky to have all of these guests. And to start off the discussion, it will be Stephen Love, and they'll be sharing, and there'll be time for questions either after each presenter, or we can wait to the end. You know, I think maybe just if you have questions with the person that's presenting, it might make more sense to just ask the questions then. And so without any other questions from you, then I'll turn it over to you, Steve.
Sure. Good evening, Chair and Commission. If I could get the PowerPoint.
You can have the computer. There we go. Thank you.
All right, so tonight I'm going to be kind of giving a little bit of a review of all the different documents and different lenses when we are talking about sidewalks and trails and looking at connectivity throughout the city. This is a photo of Frost Avenue. This was after we significantly reduced the width and added pedestrian improvements. So appreciate communications for getting this photo for us. It really kind of highlights how we've added trails and sidewalks as part of our street projects. So the overall guiding document for us, or one of the first documents, is the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. And so when we look at future projects, when we work with our partners at the county and the state, we often refer back to the image that you see on the right there. Real quickly, just the lines that are yellow and kind of dashed are priority pedestrian and bicycle project corridors. Those are areas that don't have facilities that we want to see them on. And then the purple ones are a step down from that, which are the missing pedestrian bicycle segments. So, for example, if we're working with the county on, when we worked with the county on the White Bear Avenue and Larpenter, we were able to fill in a chunk of that. Now, a number of these pieces actually, some of these have been met already, and we continue to look at that every time we work with our partners. With city projects, we look at this as well, and a good example is BB Road, which is right here. As you can see, it's purple there. That's one that we put in a sidewalk on as part of our project. So when we start our street improvement projects, this is kind of like that very first layer that we look at as far as like what is needed in the area. And we also look at it as part of development reviews. So if somebody is building something along one of these roads, like a commercial development, a lot of times we'll have them put in a piece of the segment, right? And now it might not initially connect to anything, but it's a way to start building some of those connections. Then the next thing that we look at is our living streets policy. So when a couple parts of the policy that I'll highlight is some of the goals are walking and biking in livable neighborhoods. There are other things with the environment as well as like stormwater improvements, the urban forest and stuff like that. But for tonight's meeting, really the two goals that apply the most are walking and biking. We look at this document with every one of our city street improvement projects. We look at what is needed out here. So not every street always needs a sidewalk. For example, you might have a neighborhood that doesn't have any through traffic. It might be the end of the roadway network, right? Do you need a sidewalk on every one of those roads? Or do you need a sidewalk that's adjacent to that development that ties into a larger network? Is there a school? Is there a park? So we look at all those things. And we also look at this with developments. And, I know that we've recently received an application for the Century Ponds development. This is the old golf course down off of Linwood, right? Linwood? I've been saying Lydia for the last few days when I've talked about this. Linwood, I just want to make sure I had it right. So like with that development, we're looking at what walkability looks like inside that, as well as what does bicycle and pedestrian connections are needed on some of the major roads like Century Avenue and Upper Afton. So for our own personal capital improvement projects, this kind of highlights some of the stuff we do. Again, this is Frost Avenue. I just thought it was a good photo of what we look at. This is a great example of the Living Streets policy. One of the things we heard about is the speeding out there. So it used to be 52 feet wide for one lane in each direction. We were able to narrow that up. We have a sidewalk on the north side and a bicycle or a trail on the south side. It really kind of shows what that Living Streets application can mean to an area like this. We're, for example, working on our Prosperity Road there that runs by Wakefield. That's a proposed street improvement project for construction this year. And we're looking at trail along the east side of Wakefield, all the way from the County Road B Trail down all the way to Larpenter. We also look at ADA upgrades. So if they're already existing systems, do the ped ramps meet current ADA requirements? Touching a little bit on the Harvest Park Master Plan, we're very happy that got recently approved by council and that we're moving forward with our first phase of the playground. But this also shows another way that we look at connectivity and sidewalks. And one of the things that we heard from the residents while we were working on this was the desire to have all this loop system in there. And so people can use it for different walking, like if you want to go so far, it really kind of brings that enhancement to this park, and then also ties into the regional trail on the west. I also have some notes on here that we're looking at the south side here. This would probably be the playground is really our phase one, and then the south side will be like our phase two. And one of the things that we heard from the public is like this bike and skill course would be a big advantage. And then especially if you add that right next to a regional trail and you have a parking place where people can come and it can be a starting point, So we're really excited as we start venturing into the actual implementation of the master plan. And this is the sidewalk and bicycle network from the Parks Master Plan, the overall Parks Master Plan. It closely matches the 2040 comp plan. As you can see, you have a number of these yellow segments. We even use the same colors, which is kind of nice. The purple right where BB Road was. There's a number of, as you can see, missing key segments, but there's also been 22 of them that have been completed to date. So we are actually making progress on this. For example, you have like the sidewalk trail that was built up here on Cope Avenue. This is County Road B and White Bear right here. Now we have a trail that goes all the way out to the regional park. We also built along Arcade and up to County Road B over to Edgerton. So those are just some pieces that, you know, that I'm highlighting that we've filled in. So we have a number of documents and lenses that we look at every time we do a street improvement project. Now, we don't have a dedicated bicycle and trail program where we have set funds just for bicycle and trails, but we include that with every one of our street improvement projects. And part of that is while we're doing projects that are full reconstruction, that is really the best time to implement that because you have the challenge of how do you match in all the existing, but you also have the stormwater challenge. If we put in a new trail, we have to provide water quality. So we're trying to do as much as, right now we're in the phase of trying to provide these connections as part of our projects when we can deal with those all at once. But certainly it's going to be something to consider in the future when we're kind of moving past full reconstruction projects and doing more maintenance type projects, then how do we continue to build the network? And with that, I believe that was my last, that was my last slide. I'm available for any questions.
I had a question. Well, first off, thank you for presenting all of this. This is very interesting and useful information. I guess for me, I was wondering, when you implement a new design, do you track usage or see if like certain designs are more favorable for pedestrians and cyclers?
So we kind of have, when you say designs, are you talking about the pedestrian and bicycle designs?
Yes.
So we know that, we hear a lot that people like the off-street trail, right? Because you have all abilities able to use that. Mm-hmm. So we generally look at that for bicycle connectivity and stuff first. Sidewalks, we're generally looking at, we'd like to see about 5.5 to 6 feet wide, and part of that is the width of our winter maintenance equipment, because we do actually provide the winter maintenance on the majority of the sidewalks in the city. But the nice thing with the Living Streets policy is you really have to look at the area that you're improving, because there's a lot of things that could go into like available right of way, and maybe we don't have the room for a trail, but we can make an on-street bike lane. So we have I like to think of it as we have a pretty good sized toolbox to make improvements, and we try to pick the right tool for that project.
Gotcha. So if you were to select a on-street design, is there any type of curb or protective barrier at
Sure.
all?
So all our street projects, for the most part, are designed with the barrier curb. It's called barrier curb. It's the vertical curve that's about 1/2 foot tall, and so we do that because it not only supports the roadway, keeps the road from kind of sloughing off, but we also know that it provides some channelization for vehicles and help them keep in their lanes and things like that.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
I was just, I've gotten feedback from people that like when there's that on-road design, if there's not that barrier or even like a small one like that, that sometimes they're not even comfortable with using it as a bike lane.
Oh, I see what you're saying is the paint, like a painted bike lane. So I don't think we have an area right now where we have a bike lane that has that curb in the
Okay.
middle. We don't have, I don't think we have one of those in our network right now, but I know that is an option. And that's why we tend to go towards the a dedicated trail, because it does provide that extra feeling of safety. You're not right next to the vehicle. And we also know that our users aren't all just professional bike riders,
Yes.
right? There's users of all abilities, all ages. And I think that's why we kind of gravitate more towards we try to really hard to get it to be a off the street kind of trail.
That's great. Yeah, that was kind of, I know that in some cases you might not be able to
Right.
do that design, but you're always trying to see if that's a possibility.
That's where
first.
we start there, yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I want to just say, I don't have a question, but I'd like to thank you for what the trails, I walk them at least 5 times a week if it's warm enough, but they are kept up so good with the snow. And even now, when you go from a trail to the sidewalk, they're always safe, and no matter what the weather is like. And I want to thank you for keeping our trails so nice.
Chair and Commission, I appreciate that, and I'll pass that on to our maintenance staff. They are the ones that do such a great job, and that we have maintenance staff from our street, storm, and our park maintenance that all kind of, we're one big team that tries to tackle that. So I'll pass that on. Thank you. Yep.
I have we have a boardwalk between Beam Avenue and Little Canada. And I think I saw that's on our plan to redo, but
Yep,
I'm
Chair,
just wondering
members
what
of the
status
commission,
that
yes, we are actually working with Little Canada. It's one off of Walter Street, is that the one
Yeah,
you're talking about?
yes,
No,
that's
that's
what I
okay.
meant.
Yeah, Little Canada has started that process, and they actually, and they had money for getting with their consultant for this in 2024, and we're working together, and they're like leading the project, but we're working with them, and we've had preliminary talks on what that will take to upgrade that boardwalk. And Steve, I don't know if you want to add any more to it?
Yeah, and actually, we included that in our 2025 CIP. So we're hopeful that we get the opportunity to advance that forward.
yeah, it's getting a little rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's no other questions for Steve, thanks, Steve. And next up, our next speaker is Connie Bernardi, and she's, again, the Active Living Ramsey Communities Director. That's quite a title. I wanted to make sure I got it right. So I'm going to get your presentation up here in just a second.
Okay, well, I'll just get started here. Good evening. Thank you for the invitation today. I heard that you all wanted this on your agenda. It's very important, and we know that the communities all across Ramsey County really care about pedestrian and bicycle facilities in our community. So I'm looking forward to the presentation tonight, and thank you for your detailed instructions.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I tried, there's a lot we could talk about, so I tried to hone in on what I could get in hopefully 15 minutes. So if we could get started, I don't mean to push the moving forward. I thought today what we could talk about is just our Active Living Coalition in general, our Be Active, Be Green initiative, that's something that you all can participate in, our Ramsey County Pedestrian and Bicycle GIS Clearinghouse and the maps we have, and how we collaborate with our cities, and have been doing it since 2006, 7, 8-ish on this initiative, and we update it every year. And then our Ramsey County-wide pedestrian and bicycle plan and the all ages and abilities vision that came out of that. This is my former boss, Mark McCabe, and when I was in his department, we developed this pedestrian and bicycle plan, and it was looking at Ramsey County-wide, because people really don't care what jurisdiction it is. They just want to continue biking or continue walking. So if we collaborate together, we can be more serve our residents of Ramsey County better. And then the other, what came out of that is a Connected Ramsey Community Network, creating north, south, east, west connections. And then, like I said, the All Abilities Transportation Vision. And then all of our Active Living Ramsey Communities Comprehensive Plan collaboration. We have all of the communities in Ramsey County, except for like North Oaks, and one other one didn't get theirs in on time, but they're fully supportive of it, is that everybody has active living in their plans, and they've been doing this consecutively over the last 2 decades. And then we would like to continue that, obviously. And then we also, we all share the Connected Ramsey Community Network is embedded in everybody's comp plans. And then we'll talk about the sidewalk collaboration with local governments, how we in Ramsey County can work, help, and then what the road and trail projects on the county level that are here. So with that, the Active Living Ramsey Community Coalitions, have anybody heard of it? I see a couple, a smile and a nod. I don't. It's we engage the community to improve health, and we create and promote environments where people can be physically active in their daily routines. We focus a lot on policy system and environmental changes. And we're celebrating 20 years, and it's made up of community leaders, practitioners, and residents. So anyone can participate. It's pretty informal. It's connections. We have we meet quarterly on a Monday from 2:30 to 4:30. It's been on Zoom since COVID, and we get a lot of participation. So we've continued that, and March, June, September, and December. So be looking out for that. And then Active Living Ramsey Communities, we have our coalition and our bike walk enroll team email list, and we'd love for you to sign up for those to stay informed, free opportunities, and I just call through information that you may be interested. And so this is the first thing that we can offer to the city of Maplewood if you would like to pursue this. You may have seen some benches like this throughout the county, that we have 2 different style benches. We try to create corridors in which people can maybe see the next bench. It can be 50 feet apart, or it can be a quarter of a mile apart, but making it more bikeable and walkable for people of all ages and abilities. This is one, we know we have these in Maplewood along the Bruce Ventle Trail, and thought I would share that with you. This particular design, we have another one that's similar to it, not exactly like this, but it's similar. So the community can pick which design they would like that best fits into their, and they're very high quality, and they're made out of recycled plastics. This is a collaboration with the Public Health Department and Environmental Services in Ramsey County. Right, and so we thank them for this opportunity. And I thought I had a thing on how to apply for it. You can go online. It's our Active Living Ramsey Communities website, and it's very simple what you need. Did I have that in there? I thought I did that. That bums me out. Okay, I didn't get it in there. But it's very simple. You pick a route that you want to do. I go out there and I work with you and I collaborate with you on it to figure out where the best spots are. You have to pick them up and put them together, install the concrete pad, make sure they're ADA accessible, and commit to maintaining them for the 20-year period. And we just had an Eagle Scout develop a plan in Vadnais Heights around Lily Pad Park, I believe, or Lily Pond Park, so that was a pretty cool project. And then we've been doing this since 2000, even before I started here, 2006, developing a Ramsey County-wide pedestrian and bicycle GIS clearinghouse. And this is something that you can all lean on and look at. There's a picture of what this, it looks like, there's a lot of meaning in there, but I want to just tell you, we'll get a little bit deeper on what this is. But we have a Connected Ramsey Community Network, and I'll show you more with not all the data on there, but what we did is all the cities every year give us their bicycle and pedestrian data, and we put it on this map, and they get to say what they constructed and what if they have any new plans. And so all Ramsey County communities can know what's going on. And we were like one of the first in the country to do this, and I don't know if more people have been working on it or not. Okay. We update it annually. Do I go that way? And so this is little less busy. The one before had the lines underneath it that were black. Those were the local network, and the solid lines would be what exists. The lighter lines would be, or I think it's the red lines would be, or for the local governments, would be what's planned, and then you can see where the gaps are and where some identified needs are. So what we did back in our bike and ped plan, we worked with all of our local governments, and we came up with, where do we see some natural north, south, east, west connections in everybody's plans? So that's what's so beautiful about this. These things are, most all of these things are already in someone's plan, and if we work collectively together, it'll be easier to get these through and get people about town. And I share this with you. My father-in-law told me his father was from Luxembourg, and so were my grandparents too, or great-grandparents. And he said on a good day, with a sunny day with a good horse, you could get across Luxembourg in a day. Well, Ramsey County is one of the most densely populated counties in the country. We have a great opportunity to get people easily across our county with biking and walking. So this is what it looks like now. I got news that we're going to be able to update this. So whoop, whoop, I'm really happy. I've been trying to get this done for a while. This is, like I said, this will help people for doing planning around a transportation network. I'll just keep clicking. There we go. And this Ramsey County municipalities has this in all their, nearly all of them have it in their comp plans. So we share this vision together. It makes it more powerful when people apply for grants and things like that. So Shoreview up there wants the Trout Brook Trail done so they can get to St. Paul. St. Paul was wanting to do the Trout Brook Trail too. And when the Shoreview advocates started getting involved, it built momentum, and they got funding to finish their part of the trail in St. Paul. So that's how working together works. Okay. Are you able to push it forward?
Oh, you got it.
I did, okay.
that was you.
And then, like I said, we'll be collaborating with the municipalities for updating this. And then this is the pedestrian map. You can see it's pretty dense in St. Paul, and it shows where the pedestrian facilities are and aren't in Ramsey County. And then,
Oh, yep, it's on.
okay, we update this annually as well. We're in the process of updating now, so Steve, it's your formal request. When you get a chance, please we're trying to get that by March 10th if it works out for you. Okay.
Want me to try?
Magic wand.
I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I thought I would hone in on the pedestrian and bicycle information for you all tonight, because that's what we're here about for Maplewood.
I can do it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So I honed in on, okay, go ahead to the next one. So this is the Maplewood bicycle facilities, and with the Connected Ramsey Community Network layered over it, so you can see a little bit easier the section that's in Maplewood. And then this, like I said, this is the framework for connecting everyone. And I had that in the other chart, so we won't go over that. We go to the next map. This shows just the Connected Ramsey Community Network. And we'd really like to work on getting this more closer to a half-mile grid. And so be thinking about where there's facilities that are needed for going north, south, east, and west in the county. Okay, go ahead. And then this is the pedestrian map with just the Maplewood part. Just love the city of Maplewood's design. Okay, keep going. Oh, the only one that tops you is White Bear Township,
Okay.
because they have 3 different non-contiguous parts of their town. Their township. Did you all know that? Isn't that interesting? Within, I think, White Bear Lake. So I just wanted to bring with you today and let you know what Ramsey County road and trail projects that are happening in Maplewood. We have a County Road D project, which is a substantial one, and Steve, I'm sure they've been working with you on this. And there will be a trail to improve bike and ped access along there. And then Beam Avenue from 61 to Swanson Street, the mall entrance, will be a minor fix, and that will be mostly pavement focused. But in a future project, it will provide more opportunities for a comprehensive project that's beyond pavement, to looking more at the bike and ped facilities. And then Van Dyke from Ripley to White Bear Avenue, one of those intriguing roads in Ramsey County. It goes before the Parks building. I used to work there. It looks like it's a parking lot, right, for part of it? I can't wait I want to see the grand opening of that road when it's done. And then, while not this year's Rice Street, that borders Maplewood, will have some work done in the near future. And there is going to be a substantial investment in that corridor. And then I wanted to let you know how we work with the cities on sidewalk and trail improvements on like Ramsey County roadways. It's a partnership with the city and the county. Depending on the scope of the project, we usually ask the city about facilities within the project limits if, there's going to be sidewalks and pedestrian facilities. I'm going to jump down to number 4 and just let you know that the county will not force a sidewalk on a community, but it's ready to partner when approached by a city for a potential project. And then number 3, there's an opportunity to partner on standalone installations. It's called our locally led projects. So if the city wants to pursue something separate from a Ramsey County road project, then you can apply for those funds. And so that's definitely a good funding source. And then, connecting with us, visit us at ramseycounty.us. You can, our active living site's on the park site. You can look at what projects are happening in Ramsey County. And then this is my contact information. If you want to get added to the active living list, you can go online on the active living. It's active living, ramseycommunities.org, and sign up, or you can send me an email and say you want to be signed up for the for the bike and walk team and the active living Ramsey community list, and I can sign you onto that. So thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Connie. I have a question. I know you had thought you'd wanted to put a contact info for the bench project, but would this be a way to find out about that if they went to Ramsey County?
.us, and
Yeah.
I wish now I would have added the better one to go to for that, easier to find it, is activelivingraMseyCommunities.org, and that actually takes you to the parks.
Okay.
Active Living Ramsey Communities. And did you notice it's not county, it's communities, because this has always been a collaborative, and although Ramsey County supports this project, and it comes out of, it was in public health and parks and now in public works, it's a community collaboration project, and so we don't just look at Ramsey County roadways, we are trying to figure out how we can make connections throughout the entire county.
Awesome. Thanks, Connie. And any questions?
Is there a cost for the bench, and what is that?
There is, the benches are granted from us for free, but there is cost in the project for, putting them together and doing the concrete pad and installing them and the maintenance of them, but the actual bench itself is free, and people are very appreciative of it, and they're very high-quality benches, in my
And do you
opinion.
so do we get the concrete person from you, or do we do all that on our
You
own?
do all that on
All
your
on our
own,
own. Okay,
yep.
perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, Connie. I don't know if you know the answer, but in terms of bikers or the trends for biking, have those changed at all in the last few years or so? Do you know?
I do not know.
Okay.
Don't know what the trends are, but it just seems like it's going to be important that we get more people biking and walking for a couple factors. One is for people's pocketbooks, and managing inflation and all those sorts of things. And then the other is for our climate and making sure that we protect it as much as we can.
I had a question. So Beam Avenue by the mall, is that a county road? I'm not sure. That's a county road?
County Road D?
No,
Or
no, Beam
Beam?
Avenue, the south side of the mall.
Chair and Commission, so yes, the part west of White Bear is a county road of Beam Avenue.
No.
And then Beam Avenue east of White Bear is a city road.
Okay,
So between 61 and White Bear is county.
yeah. Because that's really a hodgepodge of sidewalk. I mean, it's sidewalk, no sidewalk, sidewalk, no sidewalk. So, yeah, I don't know what, it'd be good to do something about that. I don't know how we got to that point, but it's really, especially in the winter, you can't get, and around the mall of all places, you'd think that's where you'd like it to be, bikeable, walkable, so.
Do you mind if I added one more thing? I will try to keep the presentation down, but Ramsey County is finalizing their ADA transition plan update. And what that means is we went, using LiDAR, went on every sidewalk and every county trail and identified if they meet ADA compliance, and if they don't, what's wrong with them. And it's been a great project. We've had amazing community participation in it, and we're just incorporating those community comments in our ADA transition plan. So for whoever participated, thank you, and it's going to be a really good tool for our local communities too, I would think, and the county.
I was just going to ask about that. So using LiDAR, does that provide like almost a 3D map of the like transition of the sidewalk to the road, or what does like the LiDAR like give you, I guess, information wise?
Well, it gives you if it has like a trip hazard, the cross slopes, the elevation, vegetation. So I think that's most of the data. And then we also manually did crosswalks, light, signals, and trying to think, there's one other thing that we would have done manually, and it's not coming to me. But the ramps were done with LiDAR as well.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. That's a lot of really good, useful information that you guys have gathered.
Thank you.
I have one more question. You had mentioned Rice Street, you're going to be doing a big project. Are you doing like more sidewalks or trails connecting to other trails? What is the Rice Street one you were talking about?
I don't have the latest details on it, but there's been huge community engagement about it, and there's a vision, I know for sure, for pedestrian travel, and I'm not sure how they're addressing biking. If it's on, I don't know, I can't tell you exactly, but it's a really big project, and community investment of time, energy, and vision on that project.
That'll be nice. That'll be good.
Right,
Yeah.
and not too long ago, I would say 10 years ago, we didn't know we would get there. And, with a vision of a Connected Ramsey Community Network and of creating more bikeable and walkable communities and all of your interest in it, the times have changed. Wouldn't you say, Steve, how we address these things? Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for your leadership and for the Living Streets initiative here in Maplewood. It's important.
Thank you very much, Connie.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Now I have to let my little puppy dog out.
Hey, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. But I'm going to listen to Mark McCabe because I want to hear what he has to say.
Chair and Commission, you asked a question about trends. I don't have an answer on trends, but just more of a side note. One of the things that we hear in our community surveys when we host those is the desire for connectivity. And so it's not a trend, but it's what we hear from the community a lot. Yep.
Yeah, that always comes up as number one
Yes.
in all of our surveys, is trails and.
Connectivity, yep.
Okay, thanks. And next we have the Parks and Recreation Director from Ramsey County, Mark McCabe. So, Mark.
Hello, yeah. Mr. Chair and Commission members, thanks for having me. Again, my name is Mark McCabe, and I'm the Director of Ramsey County Parks and Recreation. I think it's pretty cool you've got student presence here too, so good for you guys for trying to keep it entertaining so you'll fall asleep. I don't know. But pretty awesome that you have that kind of a structure. That's really good to see. We'll talk about some capital projects that are taking place within the Maplewood city limits. And I would just say in my time in the Parks and Recreation position as director, which has been like 6 years, I think we've got more going on in the city of Maplewood than in my time that I've been involved in Ramsey County. So there is quite a bit going on. So that's exciting. We've got a good amount of projects. So the first one that I want to highlight is at Keller Regional Park. So if you're of a Highway 61, it's referred to as the Gulf View side. So if you're familiar with that entrance, there's Tulu courts there. So we partnered actually with the city of Maplewood a handful of years ago to make the first set of courts that we've had at Keller Regional Park. And like anything, I think some people have referred to like, well, when you made the first basketball court, it probably needed a few improvements over time, and they probably had iterations and what, developed into the courts of today. So same thing with Tulu's, like we really weren't very familiar with that game and how to build a court. And so we involved community and we tried to get different design plans and things like that. And we had a pretty shoestring budget for that first go around. So I think it proved itself to be popular and exciting for the public and for the Hmong community who primarily play the game. But also we needed to make a lot of improvements. So it kind of stood its first iteration, and now we're on to the second. So we had a lot of input from the Tulu playing community. In 2021, it kind of began about, gee, we really would like to have additional amenities here and make some improvements to these courts. So we've been doing a lot of engagement from now till then, and then working on raising some funding. So the pictures you see here, you see the set of courts, but also the parking area. And I'll move on to the next slide because then you see it up front a little bit. So what we're going to do this time is, right now there's like turf grass out on the field, and we have irrigation. It gets beat up though, it gets worn down pretty significantly. So this is actually like a synthetic turf grass. So it's synthetic field. Told that it shouldn't heat up too badly, that there's good infiltration. We've done all that work already. We added an additional court, so there's 4 instead of 3. And then in addition to that, we also added Sepak Takraw, and you can also play volleyball and badminton there. So some additional amenities. There'll also be a shelter, in the south end here. And then there's going to be let's see, here's the entrance area. There'll be some water. There's restrooms up above here. We'll put out some portables. So some additional amenities for the site as well. And you'll see the different funding sources that we were able to obtain funding. So I think the first courts were, I don't know, something like $400,000, $500,000. So a pretty big investment here, but we were able to go to the state of Minnesota, get support from Senator Fong He, who chairs an environmental committee, and helped obtain arts and cultural heritage grant funding, worked through the Met Council to get a grant there, and then through the state of Minnesota, legacy fund allocation that we put together for our primary funding sources. And then we'll have some public art by Hmong artists. So in addition to that, we'll have some additional parking because the site has picnic shelters on it and other amenities. So we're going to be pretty tight once all that goes in. So we're going to try to have some dedicated parking for these courts. And it really should be an area where local players can play, but also we can host tournaments. There are other chapters of Tulu players around the country. And so we're going to hopefully be a host site for some tournaments and things like that. But I'm pretty excited about it. We're actually, one thing I don't have on these slides, we'll send out a formal invitation to you all, but on July 19th of this summer, we're going to have a grand opening event. So this should be completed in June. Fingers crossed, you never know how the spring is going to be in Minnesota, but we've got a lot of work left. But we feel pretty confident by July that we'll be able to have that grand opening. So I don't have the exact time of day yet. We're looking kind of mid-morning, July 19th, but we'll send out a message there. So any questions on that facility? Otherwise, I can keep going through the whole thing and then ask at the end. So that's an exciting one. Less exciting but necessary is stormwater infrastructure improvements at Battle Creek. So part of the property runs into St. Paul's, part of it in the city of Maplewood. Right now, so there's a lot of old infrastructure on the site. There's a 45-year-old kind of failing stormwater infrastructure. We got a $240,000 grant to just go through and do design work right now to see about replacements, looking at flooding control, new surface stream as well. Might be able to have some teaching areas and things like that, interpretive areas. So for right now, we're really just in the design process, and then we'll get to the point where we can put together a cost on what it would actually take to replace this infrastructure, which I think will be a big price tag. Whoops. Back. Sorry, this map is hard to see, but if you're on Upper Afton Road in McKnight, at that corner, and then if you are going east on Upper Afton Road, you'll go to the Battle Creek off-leash dog area. So there's a parking lot right there. We're working to add some ADA accessibility to it. We did a community engagement with residents quite a while ago now, in the past couple of years, and they really voiced the need for those ADA improvements, for drinkable water for pets, for more of a trailhead, parking lot renovations. So we're going to finalize our design work this spring, and then looking to make some improvements in the fall, probably on the drinking water front and ADA accessibility front, fencing, and then in fall of '26, a lot of parking lot improvements, and there's some water infrastructure that's going to have to run under the lot there as well. So, but that site, as you probably know, is used every day of the year by a large group of people, and so they're really passionate about the area. We did have to take down a number of diseased ash trees, and so there's been some concerns about that, of how that looks, but we're going through and trying to remove a lot of downed trees right now. What's that? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the invasive pine trees as well, yeah. No, there's plenty of work to do there, but we're excited. It's a really well-loved area and really popular with residents. And then another project, Battle Creek Waterworks. Sometimes we get calls of is Waterworks your water utility? So we're going to change that name to Battle Creek Water Park so people know what that is. But there is a water park that exists, so it's actually in the opposite side of the street as the off-leash dog area. So right on that same area, Upper Afton Road. Then it's really a young kids water park facility, so ages 2 to 10 probably is the primary audience, maybe 12 years old. You can't really see on this slide, but to the right on this illustration, there is a larger pool with a water slide that's going to continue to be there. This is just a rendering of some improved areas. It's like a 20-some-year-old facility, and as you know in Minnesota, when you have outdoor water parks, they tend to degrade. So a lot of money, unfortunately, is going to have to go into just kind of basic infrastructure to upgrade it. But we will be able to, we're going to replace that play structure that you see on the screen. That's all going to be replaced with a brand new facility. We're adding shade, taking out, probably a fun, but maybe a poorly planned sand play area that all the kids would track sand right into the pool, and that wasn't the best. So going to have some other fun things to play with over here, area to host birthday parties, things like that. But that's over a $5 million project. So a couple years ago when the state had a state surplus, there was funding that was put out to the regional park and trail system. So our kind of 10 agencies, 7-county metro area group received a couple of allocations of funding, and that is what we are choosing to put a significant portion of this funding towards. So that's how that is being put to work right now. And then there's, there's going to be some operations maintenance funding coming from Met Council, which Met Council is the distribution agency. Basically, it does come from the state and then runs through there. So you can see all the number of different improvements that are going to be made to that facility. And then moving on, Aldridge Arena, which you could walk to from here on a nice day. That is a pretty storied facility, so built in 1962. So we're over 60 years old, and it could use a renovation or two. So it's a really popular site. One thing that we're really proud of is that in addition to it being a hockey facility, which has been, what it's known for, it's really become more of a community event center. And so, lots of people kind of raised their hand of like, oh, I graduated at Aldridge. So that's been going on for a long time. But we have, here's a list of some activities that have happened just over the past year at that facility. So we've got, anything from dog shows and weddings to quinceanera celebrations, Hmong New Year events. There's Hmong flea market and farmers market that happen outside throughout the year. We've partnered with the city and as well as Hazardous Waste Site to have collection sites there. This photo, the Minnesota Wild did a community turkey giveaway the past 2 years on the site, and so right around Thanksgiving, went out and I think this year handed out something like 3,500 turkeys to community members in need, and so that was a cool kind of partnership with them. But we're just really finding that with the affordability, we're trying to keep it affordable, a unique size of like 3,500 people, it really serves like a niche market in this area, and so it's really become like a regionally accessible area and something that's got a lot of popularity now. So it really is much more than just a hockey facility. There are improvements that we need to make with, it operates with the refrigerant R22 that's no longer being manufactured, so we need to like transition that out to more environmentally friendly refrigerant. It has a number of infrastructure upgrades that are needed. In the image that I showed earlier, that was just a rendering. So like that entrance that's out there, we don't know exactly if that would look like this, but there's ADA accessibility that's needed, new bathroom amenities. We get turned down from some venues that would like, or excuse me, some promoters that would like to do events at that facility, but it's kind of like we've retrofitted things in there, but it's not really designed for some of those purposes. So if we can, go back and get the design done, we think that there's an upside potential to even have a lot more events into that site. And so it's really been I think a good thing for, Ramsey County and the city to be able to have all this activity. When the Olympic gold medalist Suni Lee won a medal, I think it was the COVID year, so I think it was 2021 that they actually had it. They had her celebration at that facility. We didn't luck out with having it again this last gold medal, but there's just all kinds of things that are taking place there that are really unique opportunities. Another just rendering from the inside of what that would look like. We do have a request into the state of Minnesota. We've got a bonding bill right now. We think the overall renovation project would cost around $13 million, and so we're asking the state for half the money because it has become such regional significance. And the county would no doubt put a chunk of funding in as well. So we'll see how that goes through this legislative session. We had it in last time. Obviously, a bonding bill didn't pass this in 2024, but we're hopeful that we can get something passed this year. And then the Bruce Vento Regional Trail. So Connie talked a lot about regional trail facilities. So Bruce Vento Trail, as a lot of you probably know, a good chunk of it is constructed and is through City of St. Paul, goes through Maplewood, comes up through this area. We're calling this phase one of an extension, so a 2.7 mile extension from Berkeley Road to White Bear Avenue. Highway 61. So that is set for construction actually this year. So we'd look to get that section done. That's about $10 million. We got $1 million from the county, $5 million from the state, $4 million from the federal government. So looking to do that section. And then there's actually a planned phase 2 that is just, planning is underway, so community engagement is underway that would take it from that terminus on the White Bear side up to County Road J. So basically going to the boundary of the county. So we'll see, that would be a similar extension. But again, as everybody's saying, community is really wanting this connectivity and extension. And part of it is for leisure, and part of it is for, even work commuting type of situations, so. And then lastly, haven't dealt as much with this project, but Washington County is kind of taking the lead on this, the Battle Creek St. Croix River Regional Trail long-range plan. And so there's a 13-mile corridor there, Afton to Maplewood, Battle Creek Regional Park, just going through the planning stages right now, visioning, analysis, and then they'll work into community engagement, probably more like this summer. So hopefully you'll hear more about that piece. But our planning and development director is working with members of the planning staff and leadership staff at Washington County on that project, because they're taking the lead on that. So again, lots of projects in the city of Maplewood city limits, which we're excited about. There's been a whole lot of planning for a long time, so it's exciting to actually see like shovels in the ground and improvements being made now. So if you have any questions or feedback, any of those?
The 2 trackhoes that are sitting in Battle Creek's parking lot, that's for the playground stuff that they're gonna take down?
That's it. Track hose that are
maybe you
sitting
don't
in
know,
the which parking lot right now?
Be the waterworks parking lot?
Oh, yeah, that would be for the waterworks facility, yep.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering, because I was like, well, are they taking down the
Yeah,
playground
yep,
or
and
the
we'll
water?
redo that. The
Are
parking
you
lot is
trees
horrendous.
or what?
Yeah, we have done some tree mitigation, removal ash in that area too, so that could be.
There was somebody there that left a note or something about. what-
Yeah, I should, we can put up some signage
Nah,
and see what's going on.
He was just unhappy with, I don't know,
Got it,
Planting Prairie, basically, he was unhappy with.
got it, okay, all right.
Wasn't me.
It's okay. Yes.
I live right by Battle Creek Regional Park, and it's a very well used area, and like I'm glad that the county is putting effort into improving infrastructure there and like putting money into improving a well used site.
Yeah, thank you, Chair and Commission members. Yeah, appreciate that statement. And one thing I didn't talk about was the Battle Creek cross-country ski area. That's been a facility for a number of years, but we just started making snow on the site a couple years ago. And fortunately, because our last 2 winters wouldn't have been able to do so well in the cross-country ski area. So that's a really active site. And then in addition to these other things that we're trying to add.
Is your organization responsible for the maintaining of the Vento Trail in the winter, like plowing and snow removal, or who does that?
So Mr. Chair, Commission members, we have certain sections that we maintain, and then the city of St. Paul maintains, plows other sections. So I'd have to get somewhere around, I think it's around where Keller Regional Park and north, I'm pretty sure that we're maintaining, in the south of that, I think is the city of St. Paul.
Yeah, they do a really wonderful job, much better than the Gateway.
Gateway is maintained by the DNR.
I know, and that's why I made that distinction. But it's head and shoulders better than the Gateway. I mean, they do a wonderful job.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I'll pass that along to our St. Paul partners too. Good.
I was going to ask, so, I mean, it's amazing how many projects you guys have planned. Are all the designs finalized, or is there any community feedback that you're still intaking for any of them?
Sure. So, Mr. Chair and Commission members, I would say, so Tulu, that one, I'll say with each of these projects, we have had community engagement. Tulu is basically finalized and being completed. Water park, same. I think on the stormwater improvement project, I'm not sure what level of community engagement there will be in there versus like infrastructure improvements. We've done a lot on the off-leash dog area as well, so I'm just trying to think of, there'll still be some additional probably engagement work on the arena side of things. We've done a couple rounds, but we're waiting to see on this funding, what comes to fruition, and we'll probably circle back with community there to just make sure, we'd be addressing priorities. And then on that last trail, the Vento Phase 2, that still needs a lot of community input. And then on that final project, that was the St. Croix Regional Trail, that's still open for a lot of engagement on that. And within the Ramsey County Parks site, if you go to ramseycountyparks.us, or excuse me, ramseycounty.us/parks, you'll see the Ramsey County Parks page, and within that, we've got a tab or a heading for construction projects. And if you go in there, each project has a heading, and it kind of talks about what phase it's in. So if there's any active community engagement, we try to have an area you can contact someone, or we'll post like, there's a public meeting on such and such date, or, we'll be out here at whatever date, so.
Perfect. You were anticipating my second question was how would people be
Sure.
able to
Find out
input
about that,
feedback? Yeah. Thank you.
I just have one, I know with the Aldridge Arena, are you guys in, like the state fairgrounds, they have the ice rink there, and I'm on a committee with that, and now they're not going to do any more ice rinks there. So will Aldridge need more ice time then?
Yeah, commission members, as far as I said, I think there's somewhat of a joke around the industry, if we could, we can sell 3 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 365 days a year, and it's the daytime ice. So in terms of capacity, I think that, that's a very busy facility. I don't know, how many available hours there are in that window, probably not much right now, but.
I know there's a lot less hockey in the
Right,
community,
yeah,
but
right,
if
in
we don't have all the
the whole
rinks.
metro area.
Yeah.
Yeah, the landscape of hockey has changed quite a bit. So as the system shrinks, I would say, I'm not sure if that business would move to Aldridge per se, but a lot of times if there's a facility that closes, Ramsey County operates 11 arenas. And so through the system, we're typically sharing, customers are getting a chunk of ice at multiple facilities.
Yeah,
So
the
we
two
kinda-
of them usually have all the state tournaments and all that.
Right, right, yeah. So it's a big puzzle piece when you look at that. And again, we go through, obviously, we're kind of wrapping up the ice season soon with high schools, but then there'll be this period of having kind of dry floor events and things like that. So sometimes if we're on a shoulder season and there's more demand, we'll keep ice in facilities longer. And then facilities like the TCO Sports Garden at Vadnais Heights, and then the Highland Arena.
The Vadnais Heights one is big too.
Yep,
Nelson.
is year-round. So there's typically more opportunity there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Looks like that's all the questions.
Okay.
Thank you
Well-
very much for coming. Very
Yeah,
exciting stuff coming.
thank you so much, Mr. Chair and commission members, staff. Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. It was a great opportunity to be able to share what's going on, and we'll probably return the favor at some point at our commission meeting. So thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you.
Let's go to Roseville City Hall meeting next. We go into that next.
I just noticed it.
All right.
All right.
Moving on to unfinished business. Goal setting.
Yes, let me pull up. So I have, the 2024 goals are still in your packet, and I can do it 2 ways. I can put those up first for you to review, but I did type up a draft of the changes from last meeting. So if you're okay with looking in your packet, I can put the draft of what I took away from the meeting, and we can work on that document. So let me pull that up here. And- Big Well, this will be good. It fits it in. All right, so this was just a draft of what we heard, and I heard you say, and it looks like they put a hyphen there. For some reason, when I converted it to a doc, I could change it. Decided to put a hyphen in successful. But, so the changes that I made were to number one, and there was a lot of back and forth, so this one I may still change. I'd talked about, we took out reviewing the master plan, because we'll get through that. And then we talked about, should it just be on park improvement plans? And then we talked about CIP, and then at one point, we did talk about naming all of them, but then I talked about how, some things are identified in the CIP, but they're not necessarily going to be a project that will be taken to council, because it has to get council approval before it becomes a project for us to, so I decided to do it this way, and then it can be open for discussion, so I put review and offer recommendations on park improvement plans identified in Maplewood's 2025 CIP plan, and that's when our finance director came in November, and he went through the whole CIP, and so I just kind of left it a little broader, because we'd kind of gone back and forth, so I'll turn that over to you if you want to have more discussion and try to list out, I could say potential projects to include and list them all, but it would make the goal kind of long. So I thought this kind of captured what you were trying to say, taking it from just saying park improvement plans, but making it per year. So just turn it over for you to discuss. So.
I'm getting a lot of head nods. Anybody like to see something different than that?
Good.
All right.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right. And didn't change number 2, except for we had said at least 2, and the consensus that I heard was that people thought we should shoot for 4. So I did put that number in there for number 2. So continue to look for new ways to engage in community outreach and be involved in 4 community events. I didn't change number 3 because but what I heard is everyone wanted to still take our annual tour to see improvements in things. And then number 4, do we want that to still be a goal, like we have annual updates from the county? Do you want to leave that in, or do we want to tweak that one? We didn't really discuss that at the last meeting. We just talked about that meeting was happening in February.
I think we definitely should have that once a
Okay.
year, because it's always on the top of the priorities, so we should.
And it would be
keep
nice
our
to
eye
see
on
how
that.
things have progressed.
Yes.
And yep. Okay. And then I did not change number 5 because I had no notes on that one. We just talked about continuing, because that was one of the things we were tasked with, was providing those recommendations and updates to you and to city council. 6, we left that one the same as well, because we want to continue with that. Same with 7, and then the only other change I made then was to 8, was to reevaluate. We kind of went back and forth on this one too, but put review and evaluate current and future signage as part of park projects and redevelopment, because what I heard from you is like making sure to make I think, Vicki, it was you that had said, so it's something that we can achieve, is like when we're looking at upcoming park projects, referring to goal number 1 and redevelopment, that we include talking about evaluating the current and future signage at that point. So that's, any discussion on that one? That's what I heard, but we can definitely change it.
Do we have a standard for our park signage right now? When we do each new park, do we have a standard?
Chair, members of the commission, there is not currently a standard other than what already exists. So if it's something that we want to change, then that's something we might have to,
I mean, I think you're never going to go through and change all of them at once. It's very expensive.
Correct.
But do we want to have,
A new one.
well, a standard for each new park that we do?
Sure.
Personally, I think maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea.
I think guidance could be helpful for any new signage.
Yeah.
Then we can start.
I mean,
We
I know
have
that
a-
we've done something that's very similar, but it'd be good to formalize that, I think.
Yeah, or
Sure.
have
Chair,
a copy
mem-
of the old one and then go from there on our next meeting, maybe?
Yep, chair, members of the commission, and we had kind of talked about the first chance we'll get to do something like that would be starting with Harvest. So as working as part of the Harvest Park Master Plan and coming up, signage is one of the things included in there. And we've talked internally too about reviewing signage at that point and coming up with options, but knowing, as you said, that this would set the standard for what we want park signs to look like going forward. And our first opportunity to do that would be with Harvest.
I think we should maybe modify that to come up with a standard and,
Sure. Just to fill Steve in, because he was walking our guests out, but the commission, we've talked a lot about signage. You know, we have the aging park signs, and even though we gave them the refresh, they're dated, and some parks and different areas over the years got different signs. So just looking at establishing a standard as we look to replace signs, and we had talked about harvest will be our first opportunity to really put thought into what the signage looks like and what we want them to look like, and then hopefully set the standard going forward for our other parks. So that's what we were just talking about. Would you want that reflected in the goal for 8, or do we want to leave the goal broad like this, but know that that's going to be something that we'll be bringing back to the commission with ideas for signage and getting recommendations from the commission?
It's okay, because we are going to review it. That's what we want to do.
it's fine.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if we could review it, what we
Yeah,
have
we're hoping
now.
that that'll be the time to do it, because we're redoing a park. It's the first park we've redone in a while since we've really added this goal, and that would be our first chance to really kind of set the standard for what we want going forward. Okay. Yep, so those are the changes from the goal setting from last month, and then it was letting you think if there was any other goals that the commission had thought of that they want to add. I mean, 8 goals is what we had last year too. We had whittled it down because we at one time had 11, and it was quite a lot of goals, and you've worked hard to kind of streamline these, but if there's any other changes or something that someone thought of that you might want to add? now would be the time.
Maybe just one suggestion, could we move 8 to be number 2 so that it's close to number 1?
Okay, sure, yeah. Yeah,
Anything else?
I don't think so. They look good.
then I guess we would just be looking for a motion.
Yeah, motion, do I hear a motion to approve our goals for 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve our goals.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right,
And now, looks like all of our visitors have departed, so
yes.
we have no visitors. Commissioner presentations. Anybody have anything that they would like to say?
I was just wondering, I mean, I know we partner kind of with the Y now, but is there anything that we actually can do to help? I belong there since it opened, and we quit a few years ago just because we could never get into the pool because there was never a lifeguard, and then I always went for the water aerobics, so that's why we just quit going after. Since the day it opened, we were members, and we finally quit. Well, I went a couple weeks ago with a family, and they called ahead of time, and they said, "Is the pool open?" And they said, "Yeah." So we brought these little kids in with their goggles and everything, and we got there, and they said, "No, it's not open because we don't have a lifeguard." And so we had these little kids crying, and then I heard from another person a couple days later, "We just went there tonight, and everybody was upset because they said the pool was open and they don't have lifeguards." So is there anything on our end that we could do that we could help with lifeguards, or so that they can have that pool open more? I think it would help with the Y memberships, because I've heard of more people that are leaving because there's never a pool available anymore.
Sure, Chair, members of the commission, I do know that getting lifeguards is a real challenge.
Yeah.
There are less and less of our youth getting certified to be swim instructors, and so it's definitely hard to do, but it's one of those specialized things for safety for, made to dependent, they have to have it for liability, so, it's not like the beaches sometimes where they can say no lifeguard on duty and let it go. That's not an option for the Y. So yeah, but it is definitely a challenge. Maybe somehow encourage people, take lessons and get certified to be a.
Younger age, I told my husband, "Don't you want to be a lifeguard?"
Right. Yeah, but that's good to know, to make a mention of. Yep.
It seems like it's been a few years since I've gone, but then I went after a few years and went, and I seen these poor little kids, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even, she said, I called before we came, and it
Right.
doesn't happen, so.
Yeah. That's a tough situation. But thanks for.
Moving on to staff presentations.
Yes, I just have some updates on things that are going on in the department. A couple of programs coming up, and just to let you know, we were lucky enough I know Carol came and said her goodbyes, but she actually stayed for 2 more months. We got her for a bonus, so her last day is February 28th, but she is going to still be here to do some training and classes even right up to before she leaves. So she is doing Bluebird monitor training. If I can have the computer, just pull it up here. So we have our volunteer page, and we're always looking for, well, frog monitors, bluebird monitors, and other things. And we actually have a good group of people that have volunteered, but they're still looking for more. So if you're interested in being a bluebird monitor, you can let me know, and I can pass it on to Carol. But she's doing a bluebird monitor training on Friday, February 21st out at the community center, or sorry, Maplewood Nature Center. And then the next day, so she's packing it in right before she's gone. She is doing a tree and shrub care pruning basics class. And this actually is a time of year for a lot of plants. The best time to trim some of your trees and bushes is during the winter. Not all of them, so she knows the right and wrong way to do it. So she's offering a class Saturday, February 22nd, from 10 to noon at the Nature Center. So if you're interested, we'd like you to register, and you've got the registration on the bottom there. It would be at maplewoodmn.gov. It's active. There's no charge, but it's just so she knows who's coming. And you can come and get all the tips for pruning your trees and your shrubs.
Audra, can you say more about that bluebird one? Are we like tracking bluebirds, or what's the purpose
Yes,
of
yep.
that?
And we have bluebird houses in different open space and preserves throughout the city, and I don't know all the finite details of what they look for, but they're just monitoring what's going on in there, if the nests are there, if there's eggs there, if the baby's successfully hatched, or that kind of thing. They're just trying to get a feel for the bluebird population in Maplewood. So,
Okay.
and a lot of it, we just need people to be able to go out in the field and be able to gather this data for us. So it's a really nice to have volunteers to help us with that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Right. And then we have 4-H program coming up, and a very fancy name, 4-H Winter Food and Drink Extravaganza. But it's a non-school day program out at the Nature Center on February 28th from 9 to noon. It's the half-day camp, and kindergarten through 5th grade, and they're going to be learning to make cozy festive drinks and exploring different cultural foods. So it's focused on food, and there's going to be one coming up in March. I don't have the flyer for it yet, where they're going to be making simple, healthy treats and things that kids can learn to make and take home. So that's one of our upcoming classes at the Nature Center, and there is still room if you want to sign your child up. And then Rev Sports. Let's see, I'm just trying to, oops, sorry. Don't always get these to get big enough. The next classes for registration are coming up, the spring sessions for May, June, July, and actually through summer, August and September. So the next sessions of Rev Sports are coming up for baseball and soccer. So if you're interested in signing your child up, the soccer classes take place at Edgerton outdoors, but we do have the building. If they need to go inside, they can go into the community gym. And baseball is the same thing at Edgerton Park, and if there's inclement weather, they'll still be doing drills and things inside the building, so it's nice to have that location. So those are just some programs that are coming up. I want to close it. All right. And then I did want to give you an update, since we talked at the last meeting about student commissioners, and I got feedback from those of you who are able to stay through to the end of the school year. And I have spoken with Joe Sharon, our communications manager, and we are going to be, he's reaching out to the school resource officers at North and at Tartan on your recommendation, Charlie, just to see if we can get in there and set up in-person recruitment, if you will, just to talk about the program. And I'll be emailing student commissioners with a separate ask if any of you would be willing to just put down some information of how the experience was and what you liked about it, or if you'd be willing to take part in that little 15-minute, kind of like when they came out last year, just to come to the session, just to tell other students about your experience. We would really appreciate that. And then we'll be looking to start that recruitment, now like we talked about in March, so that we can get somebody on board in April, having you stay, but then having them get acclimated, hopefully join us at some events this summer, but then starting in September when the seniors, you guys all go off to college or on to bigger and better things. So that's an update on that. And that's pretty much all I have for updates from me.
Replacement for Carol?
Oh, Not yet. She's, she's kind of irreplaceable, but we will be posting for the position, so. So any questions for me? Okay, well, that's all I have for our,
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
all right, thanks, everyone.